High in the wild north of Canada, nestled among frosted pines and frozen lakes, lay the small village of Anjikuni. This remote and isolated place was home to the Inuit people, who had lived there for generations. The village was surrounded by a breathtaking landscape of snow-covered forests and icy waters, creating a serene and tranquil environment that was both beautiful and harsh. The Inuit people called it home. They lived in harmony with the land, depending on its bounty for generations. The village was small, just a handful of families, but they were a close-knit community. They shared a deep connection with the land and with each other, and their way of life was deeply rooted in tradition and respect for nature. The Inuit people were known for their resilience and strength. They braved the harsh winter conditions with determination and skill, relying on their knowledge of the land and their ability to work together as a community. They fished in the icy waters, hunted caribou on the windswept tundra, and gathered food to sustain themselves through the long cold months. Life in Anjikuni was not easy, but the Inuit people were strong and resourceful. They had a deep understanding of the land and its rhythms, and they knew how to make the most of its resources. They fished in the icy waters, using traditional methods passed down through generations. They hunted caribou on the windswept tundra, tracking the animals with skill and precision. The village was small, just a handful of families, but they were a close-knit community. They shared stories around crackling fires, passing down ancient traditions and knowledge from one generation to the next. The elders taught the younger members of the community the skills they needed to survive and thrive in this harsh environment. They fished in the icy waters, using traditional methods passed down through generations. They hunted caribou on the windswept tundra, tracking the animals with skill and precision. They gathered food to sustain themselves through the long cold months, relying on their knowledge of the land and their ability to work together as a community. They hunted caribou on the windswept tundra, tracking the animals with skill and precision. They gathered food to sustain themselves through the long cold months, relying on their knowledge of the land and their ability to work together as a community. The village was small, just a handful of families, but they were a close-knit community. The village was small, just a handful of families. They shared stories around crackling fires, passing down ancient traditions and knowledge from one generation to the next. The elders taught the younger members of the community the skills they needed to survive and thrive in this harsh environment. They shared stories around crackling fires, passing down ancient traditions and knowledge from one generation to the next. The elders taught the younger members of the community the skills they needed to survive and thrive in this harsh environment. They practiced their traditions with pride, keeping their culture alive and vibrant. They passed down ancient traditions, teaching the younger members of the community the skills they needed to survive and thrive in this harsh environment. They practiced their traditions with pride, keeping their culture alive and vibrant. Anjikuni was their world, a place of icy beauty and quiet strength. Anjikuni was their world, a place of icy beauty and quiet strength. It was a place where the land and the people were inextricably linked, where the rhythms of nature dictated the rhythms of life. It was a place of resilience and endurance where the Inuit people lived in harmony with the land and with each other. Anjikuni was more than just a village, it was a testament to the strength and spirit of the Inuit people. It was the winter of 1930. The air was biting, the snow deep. A fur trapper named Joe LaBelle sought refuge from the cold. He knew the village of Anjikuni. He had traded there before, shared stories and smiles with the villagers. As he approached, a strange silence hung in the air. Where were the sounds of children playing, dogs barking, families working? LaBelle felt a shiver down his spine. The village was eerily quiet. Something was wrong. LaBelle cautiously entered the village. The air was thick with an eerie silence, the kind that makes the hairs on the back of your neck stand up. He had heard stories about this place, whispers of a thriving community that had vanished overnight. As he walked, the crunch of his boots on the gravel seemed deafening in the stillness. His unease grew with every step. The village, once bustling with life, now felt like a ghost town. Windows of the traditional houses stared back at him like empty eyes, and the doors hung ajar, swaying slightly in the wind. He couldn't shake the feeling that he was being watched, even though he knew he was alone. The empty silence pressed in on him. It was as if the village itself was holding its breath, waiting for something. The only sound was the occasional creak of wood and the distant rustle of leaves. He paused for a moment, listening intently, but there was nothing. just silence. He called out, but only the wind answered. "Hello?" he shouted, his voice echoing off the empty buildings. There was no reply, no sign of life. The wind picked up, carrying with it a chill that made him shiver. He wrapped his coat tighter around himself and continued on. He walked through the village, his heart pounding like a drum. Every shadow seemed to move, every sound seemed amplified. He couldn't help but feel that he was intruding, that he was somewhere he shouldn't be. The village was a puzzle, and he was determined to find the missing pieces. He found homes abandoned, food left uneaten. Plates were set on tables, as if the villagers had been in the middle of a meal when they disappeared. The food was still fresh, untouched by time. It was as if they had just vanished into thin air. He couldn't understand it. What could have caused such a sudden and complete abandonment? Something had happened here, something terrifying. The air was thick with a sense of foreboding, and he could feel the weight of the village's history pressing down on him. He knew he had to be careful, that whatever had caused the villagers to flee could still be lurking in the shadows. He stumbled upon a fire still smoldering. The embers glowed faintly, casting a weak light in the gathering dusk. Someone had been here recently, but who, and why had they left in such a hurry? He crouched down, feeling the warmth of the dying fire, and wondered what had driven them away. A pot hung over the dying embers, a stew frozen inside. The meal was half-cooked, abandoned in the middle of preparation. It was a scene of sudden departure, of lives interrupted. He couldn't shake the feeling that he was missing something, that there was a clue hidden somewhere in the village. Who would leave a meal half-prepared? The question echoed in his mind. It was as if the villagers had been in the middle of their daily routines when something had forced them to leave. He looked around, searching for any sign of what that something might have been. Who would abandon their homes in the dead of winter? The snow-covered roofs and frost-covered windows told a story of a village that had been left to the elements. It was cold, and the thought of people leaving their homes in such conditions was almost unthinkable. What could have driven them to such desperation? LaBelle knew he had stumbled upon a mystery. The village was a riddle, and he was determined to solve it. He stood in the middle of the empty street, looking around at the silent houses, and vowed to uncover the truth. Whatever had happened here, he would find out. The story of the village was far from over, and he was now a part of it. LaBelle searched for clues, for any sign of life. He found sled dogs, still harnessed to a sled, frozen solid. These were strong animals, used to the harsh winters. What had stopped them in their tracks? Fear? He found food caches full, supplies untouched. He saw open graves, empty and disturbed. The villagers had simply vanished, leaving behind their belongings, their food, even their dead. Whispers in the wind. News of the vanished village spread like wildfire. People whispered of strange lights in the sky, of eerie sounds on the wind. The RCMP, Canada's police force, launched an investigation. They found no signs of struggle, no tracks leading away from the village. The villagers had simply disappeared. The investigation turned up nothing. No bodies were ever found. No trace of the villagers was ever discovered. The mystery of Anjikuni deepened. The land and its people. The Inuit people had lived in this harsh land for centuries. They knew the dangers, the ways of the animals, the whims of the weather. They respected the land and its spirits. Could a sudden storm have wiped them out? Unlikely. The villagers were experienced, resourceful. They knew how to survive the worst that nature could throw at them. Something strange had happened in Anjikuni, something that defied explanation. Vanished without a trace. Theories abound, each more fantastic than the last. Some whisper of alien abductions, of spaceships descending from the sky. Others speak of ancient curses, of spirits angry at the intrusion of outsiders. Still others believe the villagers met a more earthly end, perhaps falling victim to a natural disaster or a band of hostile outsiders. But the truth remains elusive. The RCMP investigation, though thorough, yielded no answers. The mystery of Anjikuni became a tale whispered around campfires, a chilling reminder of the power of the unknown. The mystery endures. This phrase encapsulates the haunting enigma that surrounds the village of Anjikuni, a place shrouded in mystery and intrigue. The story of Anjikuni is a haunting one. It is a tale that has been passed down through generations, whispered around campfires and recounted in hushed tones. It speaks to the enduring power of the unknown, the allure of mysteries that defy explanation. The village of Anjikuni, once a bustling community, now stands as a ghostly reminder of the past. The mysteries that lie hidden in the shadows of our world are often the most compelling. They draw us in, inviting us to explore the boundaries of our understanding. The villagers vanished without a trace, leaving behind only questions. Their disappearance is a puzzle that has baffled investigators and intrigued storytellers for decades. What happened that fateful winter in Anjikuni? Was it a natural disaster, a tragic accident, or something more sinister? The lack of evidence only deepens the mystery. Did they meet a tragic end, succumbing to the harsh elements of the Canadian wilderness? Or did they encounter something beyond our comprehension, something that led to their sudden and complete disappearance? Or did something more sinister befall them? Theories abound, ranging from alien abductions to supernatural forces. Each theory adds another layer to the enigma, making the truth even more elusive. The mystery of Anjikuni continues to fascinate and frighten. It is a story that captures the imagination, a chilling reminder of the unknown that lurks in the remote corners of our world. It is a reminder that even in our modern world, with all our technology and knowledge, there are still things we cannot explain, forces we cannot comprehend. The story of Anjikuni is a testament to the enduring power of mystery. There are still places where the unknown reigns supreme, where the answers remain just out of reach. The village of Anjikuni may be gone, but its story continues to captivate those who hear it. The village may be gone, its inhabitants vanished without a trace, but the mystery endures. It is a story that refuses to fade, a chilling echo in the vast wilderness of the Canadian North. The story lives on, passed down through generations, a haunting reminder of the unknown. It is a tale that continues to inspire wonder and fear, a testament to the enduring power of mystery, a chilling echo in the vast wilderness of the Canadian North. The mystery of Anjikuni remains unsolved, a testament to the enduring power of the unknown.